Well, good afternoon. It is Janessa, your favorite Northern California psychic, and I'm here today to tell my story, episode 3, Keli Colombini. And she is not a previous client per se. She was somebody who attended one of my live group events that was in December of 2021 when I first met her. She was a ticket attendee. She showed up to see what it is and how I do, and it was a fabulous event. Even afterwards, a handful of the people who attended the reading went to dinner. We had more to talk about. She was just fabulous. I knew that she was somebody not only with an affinity for coloring her hair fun colors like me, but that she was artistic and like genuine. So I'm going to flash forward a few more months. There was a new establishment created in Windsor, California called the Community Shop. And I was speaking with the owner of this venue and store about me doing live readings that he was interested in, and setting that all up and getting that dialed in and talking about his grand opening. And in she walked in, bright, happy, glad to be there on an early Saturday morning. And I'm like, oh my God, you're here. This is so awesome. And she had like a handful of like books that she had brought. They were on one of the shelves for sale. I could see from across the room. They were bright and happy. And I kept telling myself, you got to read one of those books. I mean, if she wrote it, it has to be something genuinely perfect. So we went together, figured out the event, figured out the grand opening. Grand opening happens. She's there. She brings more books. She's going to be doing a book reading with these children at this grand opening event. And we get to talking. And I still have not even read the book. And I feel like just like not a nice person. Like, she's so sweet and talented. I could tell. I know it's going to be good. So she comes to my booth where I'm meeting people who came to see me, like a meet and greet. And we're talking about a story from my past. Now, I am adopted. I was adopted by my aunt and my uncle. My aunt is my biological mom. I thought she was. And the one who adopted me is actually my biological aunt. So, I don't want to get emotional yet. I have to save the tears because I'll just cry this entire time. So we're having a conversation about adoption. I was explaining to her that when I was very young, I was a figure skater, I did gymnastics. Weight was a consistent issue in my household. I won't get into nitty gritty about it, but it was a battle that lasted from pretty much 8 years old until I moved out of the house. My mom would put, aunt, biologically, she'd put pictures in like from magazines in all of the cabinets during, when it was time for me to lose weight. And that's what I should look like. It got to a point when one time she offered me to get a nose job if I would get below 100 pounds. And I thought, oh, I didn't even know that was an issue. So I remember my dad coming home and him just being infuriated. This was even on the table. You don't talk about her nose. Her nose is her nose. She was born with it. And now she'll be self-conscious, which I was. And it did. It lasted through almost my entire life, through junior high school, through high school. People I met later on in life, the nose, this nose, which I've enhanced with a ring, which makes it even more, nose is just fine. But it wasn't. My whole life I spent trying to either hide it or ignore it or debate on getting a nose job. As her and I are talking, she just looks at me and she goes, do you know what my book is about? I said, truthfully, I'll be honest, I haven't read it yet. What is it about? She said, it's about noses. And I thought, wow, there is something to be said with being okay with yourself at a very young age. It probably makes the rest of your life a little bit easier, having that self-confidence that took me so long to get. And I want to show you her book, and I have more to say about spirituality along with this as well. So Keli Colombini's book, this is it. I mean, it is just adorable, adorable. So it's NORRIS, the NOSTRILEER, kind of like Pioneer, but for nostrils, if you will. So I took the book out tonight because I was going to read it a few times to myself. And the minute it started, I was already getting emotional. So I was like, I can't do that on camera. And I'm not going to read the whole book because I want you to buy it and read it. Because it'll give the whole thing away. It is done so simplistically and eloquently but yet funny, fun, and relatable. And there's a trillion children's books in the world that you could choose. I promise you, if you have a child with any sort of fears or flaws that they believe are debilitating or they are teased for, I don't care what it is, buy this book, share it with them on the level of making something that seems ridiculous just funny and acceptable. I'm gonna just read a page real quick, one of my favorite pages. So when you open the book initially, and it's hard to show on camera, it's just done so beautifully. Also, no offense, also same, right? The gap tooth, which I've also learned to accept. It goes into about how Norris is friendly and she's funny and she's kind and she's bright and she loves her toes. And this is my favorite page, of course. And it says, but Norris is not very fond of her nose. It's a little bit puffy and a tiny bit wonky. And Norris believes it belongs on a donkey. And this picture right here, and this doesn't have to go for children. This goes for even every single adult who ever has looked in the mirror and saw themselves in a distorted way versus what the world sees, which is probably completely different. When I saw that page, that's when I immediately started to lose it emotionally, because that was exactly how I saw myself for 20 plus, 30 plus years of my life. I'm turning 44 next month, and it's taken me a very long time not to shy away from camera, believe it or not, without finding the right angle and the right filter, without looking exactly perfect, right? So the spiritual part of this for me, besides this being a fabulous book, and the end of the book is amazing, and it is just adorable, and you laugh and you relate. You absolutely relate. Is that when I was 12 years old, I think it was 11. I was 11, I'm sorry. I really could not get over the Diary of Anne Frank. I was reading it and I was obsessed with it. I'm not going to say I actually hid the VHS tape from my parents under my mattress. I went to go rent another video months later, and they're like, oh, you owe like $84 for a video we've never got returned, or a crazy amount it was back then. And I just couldn't get out of the loop of the understanding that humanity could do something that debilitating, deplorable, horrible, just everything you could ever fear in any horror movie you've ever thought of in real lifetime. And I'm filming this during the invasion of Ukraine, so our children now are going to be witnessing catastrophic acts of lunatics, a new generation, right? So I went through a year of just like almost depression, where I was actually ripping out pages out of the encyclopedia or other books that I couldn't have to read more about the Holocaust. The spiritual side of this, fast forward many, many years, I find out that I'm adopted. And through a connection in the Sonoma County, people who, I don't know, Sonoma County clerk's office, I guess, I reached out asking people to help me find my father, found my father. And after many, 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 many years of never knowing he was even my father, or that I was adopted, or that I might ever find him, I get a call and we talk, and I find out how the adoption happened. And then I said, my mom thinks that you're Greek. This would be the aunt that I thought was my aunt, but actually is my mom. And he laughed and he said, oh, no. I am a German Jew. So that deep, horrifying connection I had at a very young age absolutely made complete sense. We had relatives that had fled from the concentration camps and survived. They had settled in Kansas. And when I got my 23andMe and my Ancestry.com back, both pinpointed the exact, if not exact, town or village of where my people come from. So this book means a lot to me. Not only was this a huge issue in my family as far as making me feel inferior or less beautiful, I never had a nose job, and I never would have a nose job. But something like this that makes a child feel well-rounded and special, and individuality is something to be celebrated, is a blessing. So Norris, the NOSTRILEER by Keli Colombini. There it is right there. Find it. Find it, buy it, make it an Easter gift to all the kids. Put it in schools, put it in libraries, talk about it on social media. I'm not getting anything for doing this. This is not a sponsored video. I just want you to see and hear from me how Spirit not just talks to me and I can communicate and tell people messages and make people go from grief to relief. That is my new motto. Thank you, Alberto. But it's a life. Life is full of spiritual moments that change you or make things understandable. And I hope that you've enjoyed hearing this story. I hope that you check out this book. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And if you're feeling a little odd or need a connection, please light a white candle, ask out loud to Spirit for who you want to be around you, and listen. They do the hard work to connect with you. So from Janessa to you, have a wonderful Tuesday evening. Promise you, worthy. Have a lovely day and sweet dreams this evening.